And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And this is a very, very, very special episode to us.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording in the same room.
Yes.
I don't know how that necessarily happened. I mean, maybe it was just magic. Maybe it was just the moment. But we are recording episode 50 in the same room.
Yeah. Normally, I'm in Green Bay. You're here in Minnesota. But, I was like, you know what? It's episode 50. It's a special episode because, it's the big 50. So I'm like, you know what? I should be in Minnesota for it. So here I am.
Exactly. And so to cap that off, episode 50 is entitled Homer Alone. And we're not alone. Well, I guess we're kind of alone. But I don't have my kid with me, so...
Or your wife.
Or my wife. So maybe.
But your dog and cat are here.
Yeah, but Snowball and Santa's Little Helper are there. Yeah. I guess I'm here with you. You can be my big baby.
You're funny.
Yeah.
You're a funny man. By the way, do not confuse the title of the episode with Home Alone, the movie.
Right. Because there's no shenanigans, unfortunately.
But there are shenanigans, and there is actually a reference to Home Alone in this episode.
Nice.
So, yeah. So, this aired on February 6th of 1992, which was 1 week before my birthday, which means episode 51 is actually on my birthday. The recap for this: when Marge goes to a local spa, she leaves Bart and Lisa with Patty and Selma, and Maggie with Homer.
Man, I don't know what's worse, Patty and Selma or Homer.
We're two siblings. We never had a third. But I remember when you went off to college, your freshman year, I was left with our aunt and uncle. But it's not the same scenario because our aunt and uncle are not weirdos like Patty and Selma.
Yes.
And that was a lot of fun. So, I don't mind being left alone with other relatives. Bart and Lisa, I envy them for not being.
I do think they got the short end of the stick.
They did. I don't know why I'm saying I envy them because I don't envy them staying with Patty and Selma. That would be. Oh boy, Bart. Chalkboard gag. I will not spank others.
Probably not a good idea at school to spank other kids.
I don't want to know what Bart was doing spanking other kids.
Maybe they took it wrong. You know how boys will slap each other's butts in the locker room?
But I don't know if that would really necessitate a chalkboard.
No.
Well, I don't know why you get sent to detention for saying good game.
Maybe it was kind of progressive. We don't touch other guys' butts in the 90s.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's true. We do get a new sax solo this week, which is nice. Yeah, this week is definitely a lot different than last week. We got a full opening sequence.
Yep.
Because clearly this one did not need the extra minute. The couch gag, however, this week was another repeat. This one is the Simpsons sitting on the couch forming a pyramid. That is a repeat from Bart the Murderer.
So not too old of a repeat.
No.
I mean, we're about 10 episodes away from that one.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we open up with Bart running through the house. And this whole sequence, we're going to get a kind of a Looney Tunes vibe. So there's a title card that says, Bart, Brattus don't have a cowus. And this is obviously a reference to the Wile E. Coyote.
And Looney Tunes. I think they did it in a few other Looney Tune episodes. I think they did it with Bugs Bunny and
I think they did. Daffy Duck, yep.
And Sylvester and Tweety.
And so Bart slows down, and then as they flash him, then he starts speeding up, running again. And then we get Homer chasing after Bart. And his title card is Homer, Homo Neanderthalis.
Neanderthalis. Yes.
And so then... it speeds up again and they start running. And, the funny thing about it was...
It was the same rooms over. It was the same room. But, that was also a reference to...
But that's the Looney Tunes joke. It's obviously, I don't really remember this particular scene, right off the top of my head. But I feel like as a kid, it was, really funny, really, really good, something that we remember and we relate to.
Yeah.
But I think this time watching it around, it almost made me dizzy because it almost felt like it was just so circular.
I was fine. I didn't get any motion sickness from it, so...
Really weird. So, as Homer runs past the lamp, it falls over and breaks, because what are you going to do? Chasing your kid all over the room? You're going to break a few things.
I mean, he's fat, so he probably, touched it and fell over.
And then Marge from the other room says, I'm not cleaning up that broken lamp. And then she's like, fine, and then cleans it up anyways.
Yeah, because, no one else will do it. Nobody at the Simpsons household does anything except for Marge.
Yes, at all.
Yes.
And so we get Marge feeding Maggie and changing Maggie's diaper at the same time.
Yep.
Which, hey, you could... I mean, she was some magician.
No. She fed her and then she changed.
Yeah, and it was like... Feed, burp, 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 down on the table.
Now, have you ever done that with your kid? Just fed him, burped him, changed him, and... Now, granted, I don't think your kid would need changing right away after a feeding, would he?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. And so, there's just a lot of different things that really, do this. So, obviously, there's the breaking of the lamp, and then Bart needs... So, here, I have it right here. So, there's a couple things that really puts Marge, over the edge, and while she's making lunch for everyone... Bart needs to find his red cap. Lisa requests no pimentos in her lunch. Homer rips his pants and wants double bologna. And then Homer asks her to have a beer cap removed from his bowling ball. I mean, that's just craziness. And then next up, Bart and Lisa miss the bus.
Yeah.
And then Bart and Lisa fight in the car on the way to school. And Marge just gets really angry and just, shouts. And we also notice, Maggie sitting in the front seat.
Yeah.
That's not where your baby belongs.
No.
Usually it's not until, I would say, 7, 8, maybe 9. I guess I don't know the 100% rule on it.
Yeah. I think even, early teens.
Maybe. I don't know if it's...
I mean, for us, I feel like...
law. I guess I don't know.
I mean, for us, I feel like when we were 9, 10, that's when, we were allowed to sit in the front. If it was just...
But the other thing that the Simpsons really get wrong, and once again, this could have been a 90s to now thing, but kids are supposed to be rear-facing in the back seat until they're until basically they're no longer allowed to... can't fit in the car seat with their legs crunched up against the back seat, then you can reverse them. So I reversed my kid around... Maybe around 2-ish, maybe just after his second birthday. But Maggie is either in the front seat for some strange reason, and if she is in the back seat, she's front-facing instead of rear-facing. So, just kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really odd that they did that. I do like how, when Marge, or Bart, Lisa, and Homer are, yelling at Marge while she's making lunch, she's like... she yells at him to stop and tells him one at a time, and then they just keep going, and then she goes, and then she's like, she, pokes the pimentos out of Lisa's bologna, and then she's like, Bart, you left your hat behind the toilet, and then Marge tells Homer she'll sew his pants, but then also tells her they're out of bologna.
Because Homer wants double bologna.
And I don't know when we were kids if we really ever did that to our mom. I don't think we did.
No.
I think mainly because she scared the crap out of us as kids, so we probably didn't want to,
You really have to just ask, things as they come. You don't want to throw all that stuff at our mom all at the same time.
And I don't, and even as kids, we didn't really ask a lot as kids anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's crazy. And then, Bart and Lisa miss the bus. The bus was there for 2 seconds.
Yeah. That's all it takes to get on the bus. And once again, this is already the second time. Well, I guess Bart technically missed the bus for Bart the Murderer.
Yeah.
But...
Lisa would never miss the bus.
No.
Lisa would not. But I do like how, Marge is like, hurry up, kids, or you'll miss the bus. And Lisa's like, Lisa and Bart go, oh, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it happened. Because, obviously it's part of the joke. And so, as you said, Marge has to drive Bart and Lisa to school. Bart makes faces at Lisa, which, it's annoying, but, I think we did that to each other, and we never yelled at our mom, oh, Steve's making faces at me,
I don't know. I feel like that might have happened.
But, it might, I think the not touching you thing was more our style.
Yeah.
Mom, he's not touching me. Okay. So then she yells up to the school, and then she yells at him to get out of the car.
I mean, it was a growling yell, too. It wasn't just like, get out, but it was like, rrr.
And so, Marge goes grocery shopping, and I don't know why Krusty has this kind of pizza, but there's Krusty brand duck sausage pizza.
I mean, people eat duck.
I love duck. I've never had it on a pizza, though.
I mean, that's kind of man, Krusty's putting out something that no one else would ever put out.
I think duck on pizza would actually be...
I know. Someone needs to work on that. If you guys are in the pizza business and listening to this, get on that.
Get on that. So, and then as Marge is grocery shopping, Maggie, as a baby will do, is taking items and throwing them out of the cart.
Yep.
I'm sure your son does that,
He doesn't go in the cart.
Oh, okay. Well,
or very rarely goes in the cart.
Well, don't you put him in the little seat?
No, he doesn't want to go in there. He wants to walk.
Really?
Yep.
How many kids do you know that don't like that
I know,
seat?
it's so weird.
You have a weird kid.
I thought it was weird, but you know.
So, so that's throwing Marge over the edge, and then she goes to the mall to go get the bottle cap out of Homer's bowling ball, but she goes to the wrong bowling shop. And then at the other Nick's bowling shop, he's like, oh, no, I've never done it. But the one thing at the other Nick's bowling shop is there is a framed picture of Jacques in the background.
Nice.
I thought that was a really nice touch. And then, as Marge's driving around... she just kind of thinks about stuff. Oh, she's listening to the radio as she's driving around. And there's a radio show, and they prank phone call a guy and tells him his wife is dead. Like, Jesus Christ. This is horrible. Who does that?
This apparently was it the what were those guys' names? Was it the normal
I don't think it was.
Guys?
I don't think it was. I think it was some sort of shock jock.
Okay.
I didn't get the guy's name. And so she's driving around and Marge and Lisa, or not Marge, Lisa and Bart and Homer's heads appear and tell her all these things. And then Maggie is drinking her milk now she's in the back seat though.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, in this scene she's in the back seat.
No,
she's in the front seat because she spills her milk everywhere, and this is the cherry on top of Marge's craptacular day. She stops her car, she slams on the brakes, she kind of turns her car, so she's blocking both lanes of traffic on the Springfield Memorial Bridge, and just stops.
Yep. So I do have it here. So the crank call was Bill and Marty.
Oh, it was Bill and Marty. Okay.
They call a man over the radio and tell him his wife is dead after she walked through a plate glass window.
Because that's possible, I guess.
Yep. And then Maggie spills her milk all over Homer's newly dry cleaned bowling uniform.
Oh, okay. So
and that's what makes her snap.
Oh yeah. And so before she snaps, we see behind her is the bus for the Shelbyville Players. So we get another Shelbyville reference. And so she stops. The bus is stopped now. The driver gets out and he just taps on the window and Marge goes, this better be, or he says to Marge, oh, this better be good. And she just looks at him and just roars at him. Just like a tiger. And this is...
And I don't know if this was something that the animators wanted or didn't think about, or maybe it was the Korean animators when they were doing it.
Yeah.
The bus driver is wearing a Skoal tobacco cap.
Oh.
Like the Skoal chewing tobacco, that's his hat.
Interesting. I don't know. I didn't notice that. That's a pretty good reference, I guess. Or a good catch.
Yeah, seems really weird for him to be wearing that. But
yeah, that is odd. So now, Marge is now become breaking news.
Yes.
And we get Arnie Pie in the sky.
And is this first appearance
I
of Arnie
believe
Pie?
it might be Arnie's first appearance. And I love how, he's like, oh, we have somebody, on blocking the bridge. And he's like, watch out at this street. I just dropped my bagel.
Yeah.
Why does he have a bagel with him?
Because he's hungry.
But that would never, I don't know if that would be allowed for breaking news.
No. Do you guys don't have
We don't have a chopper. So the only station I believed I've worked for that's actually had a helicopter in the past was the ABC station in Green Bay.
And did you ever have to do breaking news on a crazy woman stopped on a bridge?
No. The basic, you get your basic breaking news of like the shooting. We just actually had some breaking news a couple months ago. There was a shooting at a mall. And that's usually how it is. Not like cars breaking down. It's usually a fire or some kind of
That's
shooting.
where the helicopter shows up?
Well, we don't have a helicopter.
No, I'm saying at your old job.
But we didn't have a helicopter at my old job.
You said the ABC station had a helicopter.
They did, but not when I worked there. Way in the past.
Okay.
And I believe there are some stations out there who have helicopters, but I think they mainly use it for weather.
Okay.
Related stuff. So we cut back to the ground. Wiggum, Eddie, and Lou are talk about Marge being locked in her car. And I love how he asks them, so did you flash your lights at her? And they're like, yep. Well, I'm fresh out of ideas. Maybe get a hostage negotiator?
But unless she took Maggie hostage, I don't know if they necessarily need a hostage.
Well, you need a negotiator. Well, they're good at talking to people.
Yeah.
Or like the suicide, like what is it? When somebody's trying to commit suicide and they bring in a person to talk to them. That kind of
down from the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like something Marge might need.
And so as traffic is stopped, we see Otto. He's like, oh, it's a good time to catch some rays, and so he's on the roof of his bus with a shirt off and a towel down.
Yeah.
I don't know who this mobster is, but we get a mobster who's in a hurry because he has a body in the trunk.
Well, yeah, he's got to dump that body so quick.
I mean, you're on the bridge, just dump it there.
There's cops there on the bridge.
But they're incompetent.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, I'm sure you can get away with it.
Hey, Lou, that guy's dumping a rug in the Springfield River. Do we got to stop him?
It's just a rug.
It's just a rug.
And then we see Krusty with Mr. Teeny, who has ice cream, but the ice cream falls out of his cone and it melts all over the car. And Krusty's license plate reads Krusty, which, I mean, it's a Manny plate. But I love how, like, Krusty gets so upset with, why would you give your monkey ice cream?
Because he wants his monkey to have ice cream.
That's okay.
Because Mr. Teeny is kind of human-like and has needs.
Yes.
So, Ken Brockman is now in the helicopter, which
did
Artie Pie fly back to the news station?
So what I was thinking about, in a little bit, we see Kent getting lowered out of the chopper.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he was just back there.
But wasn't he? He was not reporting the news from during the initial breaking news.
No, it was Arnie. But maybe they brought Kent with just in case, they needed him. Okay,
so it was never actually news broken on a TV first.
Probably not. It was probably a traffic thing, and then they're like, "Oh, this is crazy."
So Ken Brockman, you think, was probably at the studio. They threw him in the copter, and then they went out.
Yeah, just in case they needed him for this.
I guess he could be sitting in the back.
Yeah,
of the chopper.
I mean, there is, they had the door that opened because he had climbed out.
Yep. And so,
and this is where it is.
I like how he's wearing the helmet with the camera and holding the microphone. He gets lowered down,
but he gets lower too.
Yeah, he's like he stops at Marge's window and starts to say something, and then whoop.
And then they just nail his head over and over as they raise him back up.
Yep. And so now we get cut to the power plant where Homer is watching the live report. And so Homer's like, "Hey, sweetheart, what's the matter? Not getting enough of the good stuff at home?" And then the window of the car rolls down, revealing Marge. Doe.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Homer, come on, man.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. I mean, although you think he would recognize a vehicle that he owns.
Well, okay, to be fair, you know how many white Mazda 3s I see driving around the city?
But how many orange station wagons are there in the town of Springfield?
Too many. So then the police apparently get the tape out.
Well, I mean, they kind of need to, keep people back. Usually it's just the orange and white barricades.
Yeah, but now it says, but the police tape says, "Distressed mother, please stay back."
How did they know she was a mom? Like, were they able to see?
Saw Maggie in the car.
Okay.
And so now...
That's the other thing. So if they were able to see Maggie on camera, there's no way that glass is tinted to not show Marge. And no, don't give me this reflection.
They call you glare from the sun. If you hit a window at a certain angle, you can't see in the vehicle. And so Homer shows up at the bridge and says he's Marge's husband. And Eddie says that explains a lot.
So they know that it's Marge. And we know that the cops have interacted with Homer and Marge before because of the prank episode with Bart and the well.
Yes.
How would Eddie not remember that Homer is Marge's husband?
Well, it's kind of like Burns doesn't know. Maybe no one in the town of Springfield knows who Homer is.
But he's an idiot. He causes trouble for the town.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know if that joke is necessary. Because Eddie should know that Homer is married to Marge. He should know that.
Yeah. I don't know. So then Marge yells out when she hears it's Homer and asks if it's him.
I mean, he's using a megaphone. Maybe she doesn't recognize it. I mean, you know, we don't recognize our own voices when you listen to it playback. None of us do because of the way our heads are set up. Biology.
Yep, and so Homer asks Wiggum what to say. Like, he's going to know how to talk Marge out of a car.
I mean, clearly Homer doesn't.
Yeah, so he ends up telling Marge they would snuggle tonight, and everyone laughs at him.
Which, I don't know why that's... I mean, Homer wants to make... You know... I mean, obviously, I think it's a reference to intercourse, but I don't know if that's necessarily laughable.
No... But it is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That Homer, that's what he comes down to saying.
Yeah.
And so Homer's finally able to convince Marge to come out of the car by promising basically to do whatever to make things better. Which that's definitely a Homer thing to do.
Yeah. But if your wife was mad at you about something, wouldn't you go, okay, I promise to do it better? Like.
Yeah. But as of what we saw kind of in the opening sequence.
Yeah.
And even so season 2... Season 1, with so much drama that's occurred with The Simpsons so far, with Marge almost leaving Homer almost leaving Marge, the turmoil back and forth, you almost saw this coming.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things like, okay, Marge is going to crack eventually. Yeah.
Any day now.
And this is it. This is Marge cracking.
Yeah. So now the police arrest Marge. And she does the whole, you know, the pictures at the jail. And according to that, with her hair, she is 6 feet 2 inches tall.
Yeah.
So probably without the hair, I think she was like 5'4".
That's some
or
tall
5'6" hair. Now, the other thing too is, I don't know if you would get arrested for this.
Stopping traffic?
I mean, it's definitely a citation. You're definitely getting a ticket for it. But I just don't know if it's a felony. Because usually you only get... I tried to look it up for Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I couldn't really find anything. So if anybody out there knows if you're going to get arrested for this... I mean, maybe in some states it's an arrestable offense. But the car is still there. I guess maybe Homer can move it. Or they get a tow truck.
Well, they would definitely get a tow truck.
Yeah, I just don't know if one would get arrested. Because, like, she's not... I mean, it's not reckless... I mean, maybe reckless endangerment? Or, like, well, you know, she had a kid in the car.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they never explain what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah. I mean, but as we get in the next scene, so Mayor Quimby is sitting down with Wiggum. Wiggum's like, don't worry, Mr. Mayor. This little bird will be cracking rocks by the end of the week. Quimby's like, Wiggum, you glorified night watchman, let her go.
Yeah, because...
But she broke the law. And like you said, is it really...
What? I want to know what law she broke that got her arrested.
Yep, and Quimby's like, thanks for the civic lesson. Now listen to me. If Marge Simpson goes to jail, I can kiss the chick vote goodbye. And if I go down, you're going to break my fall. And Quimby's like, word to the wise, Quimby. Don't write checks your butt can't cash. Quimby's like, hear me loud and clear, Wiggum. You bite me, I'll bite back. And Wiggum's like, you talk the talk, Quimby, but do you walk the walk?
But here's the thing. So, okay, this clearly didn't come out in a time during... it was an election year. 92 was an election year, because it's an even number year. And actually, I believe it was a presidential election year, but this came out in January.
Yeah.
February, early February. So maybe a primary vote? Like, it just... That part to me just seems odd, because...
Well, maybe it's just a future thing. Hey, you're going to screw me over with the chick vote in the future.
So then, they do cut Marge free, and Quimby declares it Marge Simpson Day. Which, I guess.
Well, he doesn't want to lose the chick vote.
Yeah. So, and then we find out that Marge and Homer are actually watching the press conference, And Homer tells Marge that everything is better now because she got a day named after her. And he decides to go to sleep. But Marge, she gets that annoyed face because it's not better. It really isn't. So, Homer's sleeping, and now we get a commercial for Rancho Relaxo.
Yep. Many years ago, the Spanish explorers discovered a little piece of heaven nestled in the Springfield Mountains. They called it Rancho Relaxo. And so do we. Today it's Springfield's only 2-star health spa. Swim, play, tennis, or just sit and stare at the walls. At Rancho Relaxo, you're the boss. Remember, you can't spell relaxo without relax.
I don't know if I'd want to go to a 2-star spa. 3 stars is average. I'd go to a 3-star.
But in Springfield, everything's kind of crabby.
Yeah. I mean, so, after watching the commercial, Marge wakes up Homer and says, she's like, oh, I need a vacation. Or she's like, I need a vacation. But Homer's like, but we just had a vacation. And they went to, I love how they went to Mystic Caverns. And on Homer's nightstand, there's a picture of him holding Bart over the bottomless pit.
Yep.
That's a great, I like that. I want to visit the bottomless pit. I don't want to go in the bottomless pit.
There's so many bottomless pits in Springfield.
Yeah. And Homer brings up a valid point. He's like, vacations are good for kids, but they're not good for adults. And because, you have the kids, which, I mean,
I don't know if do you think we've ever had a bad vacation? I don't think we've ever had just a horrible...
I mean, to be perfectly honest, when you and I were still living under the same roof, I don't really remember a whole lot of our vacations.
Yeah.
The big vacation I remember was one to Florida, but I was like 4.
For Disney, yeah.
And I was 3 or 4 when we went. I don't remember that trip.
Yeah.
The only other vacation I vaguely remember is one I took in high school with our parents because they won like a free weekend at a hotel in Arizona where maybe they wanted to go visit. I know we visited a friend of, I believe, our dad that lives down there.
Maybe we didn't go on... Did we never go on vacations growing up?
I mean, other than going to Madison.
Did we seriously not take family vacations?
Did we ever go to the Dells?
I don't know.
Well, we went to Noah's Ark a few times for like a weekend.
Yeah.
But like we didn't...
That's not like a vacation. I mean, we live in Wisconsin. I won't consider that a vacation.
Okay. Well, I would. If you're gone longer from your home for more than 3 days, it's a vacation. But I mean, we did a lot of trips to Gurney Mills for Six Flags. We go to Chicago every year, but those aren't vacations.
Those are vacations.
I don't really believe...
I'm talking hopping on a plane and going somewhere.
No, I don't really... I mean, you took vacations to Florida during, a winter break, but I never did that. Yeah. But the other thing, especially during summers, starting when I was in 3rd grade, and I think you started in high school, I think freshman or 8th grade, going to summer camp.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have time to go on vacation.
I don't think we've ever had family vacations. That's crazy.
Outside of the Disney trip, which I don't even freaking remember.
Outside of so me and my kid have been to California on a vacation.
And your wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
You and your family.
So I feel like me and Shay just feel like we want to do family vacations, once or maybe twice a year, just depending on how things roll out.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I guess I never had that family.
I don't really take visiting you here in Minnesota. I don't really consider it a vacation.
Yeah,
I mean it's relaxing. Don't get me wrong, and I just get to turn off the brain, even though I still check my work email, which I probably shouldn't because it's not working. But I mean, in the year of 2020, of the year of COVID, I was supposed to go on vacation, and the week before. I think the last real vacation I took leaving the Midwest was 2017 when I went to Seattle.
All right.
And that wasn't even that... Well, it was a fun vacation. It would have been a lot better if the Mariners weren't a bad baseball team. Anywho, so Homer thinks, her needing a vacation. He thinks they're going to get a divorce. Yeah. Which, to be fair, as you previously mentioned, with all their squabbling, but Marge is like, no, I just need... a relaxing vacation away from everybody to and you need that. You don't want to spend all your time with the same person day in and day out.
Yeah.
you need a break from each other every once in a while. It's healthy. And so now we get to the next morning, and Patty and Selma are there to take Bart and Lisa. And I love how they say they use their maternity leave to babysit. And they mention they have 6 months worth.
Now, I guess it depends on the state. Minnesota's 3 months.
Okay. But they also work for the DMV.
So, I mean, it's possible. The other thing is legally you're not allowed to use maternity leave.
If you're not going
on a maternity, you're not having a kid. Because you actually have to prove it. You have to have
well, they are having kids.
Right.
But, the other thing, too, is they would only probably need to use a week. You're telling me between the two of them, they don't have, a week of vacation?
Yeah, right?
And they probably don't work. Well, is the DMV open on the weekends?
Yeah. At least here it is. Maybe not Sundays.
Probably not Sundays. So you're telling me they couldn't, come on. Plus, the kids are probably going to school.
Maybe they took a page out of remember when Marge and Homer left and they left Grandpa in charge?
Yes.
Maybe they took a page out of that book. You know what? We're not having Grandpa babysit.
Yeah.
Homer, you take Maggie.
Yeah.
Patty and Selma's going to take Bart and Lisa. We can't have that same issue we had last time.
Because clearly we know they're in school. Or is this spring break where they're not in school and they just stay with Patty and Selma? I mean, it's never...
I mean, I guess they could still be in school but stay with Patty and Selma, so Homer didn't have to do...
Yeah. Well, we know Homer can't handle it.
Yeah.
And as we're about to find out, he can't even handle Maggie.
Yep. So Homer brings Maggie outside to go with Patty as well. And then Maggie grabs the door frame.
She's got a good grip for a baby.
Oh, yeah.
I love how Lisa and Bart are like, man, I wish I thought of that. So maybe had they done that, they would have stayed with Homer.
Yep, because I think Marge was like, you know what, I don't think he can handle anything.
Well, it's Homer. Can he?
And so Marge is like, well, maybe it's a good idea that Maggie stays home with you. She doesn't seem like she wants to leave the house.
Yeah.
And so we get to the train station, and Marge's train stopped at Shelbyville, Badwater, Cattle Skull, and testing grounds before stopping at Rancho Relaxo.
I just like to go back to the previous scene where, Marge suggests Maggie stay with Homer. I do like how Patty and Selma said that's probably not a good idea. They're not wrong. Yeah. I mean, I know they're saying it because they don't like Homer.
Well, didn't they also say he sell her for a case of beer?
Yeah. He probably wouldn't do that, but I do agree with their assessment that Maggie staying with Homer, I don't know if he can handle it.
Yeah. And so as Marge rolls out of the station, Homer's running behind her, beside her, just like the normal thing. And Homer asks Marge where his clean underwear are, and they're in the dryer. How often she should change Maggie?
Whenever she needs it.
Yes, that's usually a good idea.
Yeah.
And how do I use the pressure cooker? Don't.
I mean, yeah.
If you're asking as you're running outside of a train, don't use it.
And aren't these questions she should have asked while they're still at the house or driving to the train station?
Probably. And then Maggie and Homer are obviously sad because Marge is gone. Well, Maggie's sad because crap mommy's leaving.
Yeah.
Homer's sad because
crap mommy's leaving.
Crap. No one to babysit me.
Yep.
And so Marge checks into Rancho Relaxo.
Yep.
Which is really nice, and she gets shown to her room, and she's lying on the bed, and she's starting to kind of get into her groove.
Yep.
And so we cut back to the Simpson house, and Homer is lying on the sofa eating a sandwich when he hears Maggie banging a glass on her bars of her crib.
Like she's in jail.
Well, Homer's like...
Now, let me ask, did Elliot ever do that as a baby?
Most babies would just cry and say...
He didn't, find a cup or something hard to...
He would just cry and say, get in here.
Yeah.
Now... To be fair, Maggie knows how to get out of her crib. I feel like she would have just...
isn't this when he goes to feed her?
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, Maggie knows how... Maggie roams around the house unattended through 2.5 seasons so far.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Maggie, come on. Think about it. If you're going to be trapped in your crib, just get out. Just do it.
Yeah.
And so he goes in to check on her, and she points to the picture of Marge, and Homer tells her that Marge went crazy, and it's just going to be him and her, and he folds his hands over the picture frame, so it's just Homer and Maggie. It's a good thing they sat like that. It made it really easy to wrap the fingers around.
That's one of the very few pictures that he has of Maggie and him at the house.
Yep. And so now we cut to Bart and Lisa at Selma and Patty's, and they haven't touched their tongue sandwiches yet.
Why?
Because Patty and Selma are eccentric eaters. I mean, look, they go to Cairo and Morocco and all these exotic places. They probably have exotic taste in food.
Yeah, so Selma and Patty ask Bart and Lisa if they want anything to drink, and they say they have Clamato, Mr. Pibb, and soy milk.
And when I heard soy milk, I know it's a thing, but
yeah.
I feel like it just wasn't big yet. Like soy is literally nothing but huge now.
Yeah.
But being vegan, vegetarian in the 90s.
Well, I feel like our mom's mom had soy milk.
Really?
I believe she did.
Maybe she did.
So.
Oh, you know what? Maybe you are right.
But, like, no, I agree with you. I don't think it was a huge thing back in the early 90s.
And even, like, vegetarianism in the 90s, you could not be a vegetarian really anyway. You couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, you would go to a restaurant, it would literally have a salad.
Yeah.
Like, from the salad bar.
Now you got impossible meat.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Because it's meat that's impossible.
Well, it is kind of funny to think that even, like, restaurants don't have soy milk. I mean, putting coffee shops aside...
Yeah.
I don't even think... restaurants even do soy milk or regular. It's all I always see 1% milk on menus.
Okay.
And so it's so hard pressed to think that in this Simpsons world in 1992 that soy milk. Well, I guess if you're vegetarian, it is what it is. But
they're also, don't forget, they're eating tongue sandwiches.
Tongue sandwiches, yeah.
So Patty and Selma are telling the kids where they're going to sleep. Bart is going to stay. I feel like this is really odd. Like, if I were the kids, I'd be like, nah, the couch is fine.
The floor is fine.
Like,
the dumpster out back is fine.
Yeah, so Bart has to share a bed with Aunt Patty. Lisa has to share a bed with Selma. Patty is a snorer.
Yep.
And that's awful because our dad snores. And I've heard it. It's freaking loud. Apparently I snore every once in a while, too.
Yeah.
I do snore when I sit up. And it's loud as hell. And the kids, hold hands under the table because they're scared and they don't want to be there. And so Patty and Selma are like, oh, we got 15 minutes to watch until Divorce Court comes on. I didn't know that was still a show in the early 90s. Like, I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it too.
I didn't realize that's when it came on air. And so as Patty and Selma go to watch Divorce Court, Bart confides in Lisa that he is scared.
36 seasons.
So
started in 1957.
Okay. It's been on for a while.
So it's actually coming to a close because 1957 plus 36, if they did it one a year, that puts you at 93.
So it hasn't been on air anymore.
Well, this is 92. So it was literally coming to a close at the end. So that's kind of fun. Man, 1957?
Wow.
I wonder if Patty and Selma just started watching from the beginning.
I mean, maybe. If they showed reruns.
Yeah, right?
And so, so going back, Bart is confiding in Lisa that he's scared, but Lisa tells him he doesn't know what fear is because she has seen both Aunt Patty and Selma naked.
Yeah.
And Bart then, screams because imagining it probably isn't as bad as seeing it, but it's still haunting.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So we go back to Marge, and she's watching the welcome video with Troy McClure. You may remember him from such films as Today We Kill, Tomorrow We Die, and Gladys the Groovy Mule.
I want to see Gladys the Groovy Mule. That sounds like a fun movie.
I'd rather see Today We Kill, Tomorrow We Die.
Hey, maybe.
That might be a spy movie.
Yep.
A spy movie? Yeah.
And it's his greatest role. Your video tour guide to Rancho Relaxo.
So he does, the video tour of Rancho Relaxo.
Yep. And so, kind of as he goes through all the things you can do, he says, oh, you also get movie selections.
Yep.
And the movie selections this week are Thelma and Louise, The Happy Little Elves Meet Fuzzy Snuggleduck, and The Erotic Awakening of S.
What is S?
I don't know. Superman?
The Erotic Awakening of Superman?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's yikes.
Well, look, I mean, there's got to be something for the adult at the end of the day.
Well, he does say there are rated R movies that come on.
Yep. And so I don't know if I think this was after she turns off the video tour, but she also turns on the official radio station of Rancho Relaxo, and the DJ through the radio says, "This is Coma, WKOMA. Restful, easy listening. Coming up next, a super set of songs about clouds."
How many songs of clouds can there be?
So many.
Oh.
And so we cut back to the Simpson home, and Homer is trying to feed Maggie, but she won't eat.
Because he's not Marge.
Well, not only that, it's horrible baby food.
Now here's my question. So we see Homer eat the baby food, and like he has like a nice color. Have you ever, like, when you were trying to feed out?
No, I never ate baby. I never wanted to. Now,
not even to try to get him to eat it.
No,
you faked it. Okay, yeah, but you didn't actually.
No.
Eat it. Have you ever tried baby food?
No. Well, here's the thing, though. So after so long of solid food, so when Elliot was allowed to eat solid food, after so long, we decided to make our own, like mash up sweet potatoes, make our own, because obviously it was a little bit cheaper then. And I mean, that I still didn't eat, but I feel take it more appealing since I know where the food came from.
Yeah.
And so now after that, Homer's watching TV with Maggie and realizes he's laying on top of Maggie.
How is Maggie not dead?
I don't know.
How did he just not crush her? Or was like, or those couch? I mean, he uses that couch so much where those couch cushions is so, dented in that she was in a groove.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I do like Homer's like single parenting skills. Yeah. Like he uses a staple gun to fasten Maggie's diaper.
If you don't know what the hell you're doing,
it's a good idea.
It'll keep them.
Although to be fair, staple guns, if you've ever used a staple gun. Yes. It doesn't, unlike a stapler where it folds the two prongs at the end, it does not. So, and then lastly, he repairs her 9 a.m. feeding at 11:45 a.m. I don't know if he thought that was early or late, or I don't quite know why.
I don't know.
But then to make Maggie, feel a little bit better, he puts on a puppet show for Maggie. But Santa's little Homer attacks Homer. And then Maggie enjoys that
because she's clapping.
Yes, yeah. She enjoys Homer.
But she seemed to be intently watching a Homer's puppet show.
Yeah,
maybe she wasn't enjoying it, but she was distracted by it.
Yeah, right. And he was using socks, right?
Yeah,
and dogs like socks.
Yep.
So I don't know if Homer was just bored or whatever, but he invites Barney over because he wants to, have some sort of companionship since Marge isn't around and Maggie's a baby.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, look at cute little Bart. I haven't seen you in ages.
Nope, that's Maggie, Barney. Yeah, drunk fool.
Yep, and then Barney asks to hold Maggie. And he's like, oh, someone smells stinky.
Oh, it's me. Oh, Barney. Oh, God. Well, he is a drunk and he probably doesn't shower. We've seen his apartment.
Yes. It's pretty disgusting.
Yes.
And so now Bart is rummaging through Aunt Patty and Aunt Selma's things, and Lisa says, you shouldn't do that before asking. And then she's like, did you find anything good? And then Bart pulls out a big-ass bra, and he said, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Ay caramba. And then Bart pulls out a blackhead gun and pretends to shoot Lisa with it. Like, you, Bart, that's a blackhead gun! It's like,
Have you ever seen a blackhead gun in real life? I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, well, once again, Patty and Selma, man, they get some of the craziest things.
Yep.
And then this is the episode we actually learned that Patty and Selma are like MacGyver, because they come in and they're like, oh, that MacGyver.
I'll see him in my dreams.
Yep.
But as Patty and Selma are entering their room, Bart and Lisa hear him, so they crawl into bed and fake sleep.
Yep.
And then Patty and Selma crawl in, and Patty starts to snore, and the kids can't sleep because, don't get me wrong, whenever we traveled within the state of Wisconsin, we went to a hotel room, we shared a bed.
Yep.
And our parents shared a bed.
But Patty and Selma don't want to sleep in the same bed.
No, well, I wouldn't want to share a bed with our parents.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Again, the dumpster behind the hotel would be good.
No, don't get me wrong. When we were, sure, when we were like 3 or 4 years old and we had a bad nightmare, yeah, that's a little different. But in this instance, like, they're 8 and 10.
Yep.
I'd rather just sleep on the floor or sleep in the freaking dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I don't know why they forced them to sleep in their beds. If I were them, it's like, you could sleep with us or sleep on the couch.
I'd be like, what couch it is?
Yep.
So now we cut back to Marge, and she's sleeping, and then she realizes she can have the whole bed to herself.
Yeah, it always feels nice. Whenever Shay was up in St. Cloud, on a vacation with her mom or something, I'd have the house to myself. Oh, the whole bed would be amazing.
So here's the thing. As a single man, I don't even use the whole bed. I have like this tiny little part
of come on, man!
I have my tiny little part that I sleep in, night out.
It's a queen-size bed, too,
isn't it?
Oh, come on!
But even with my full-size bed, I had a nice little... But, like, that's where the groove is.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't flip my bed like I probably should. Because apparently that's a thing. So, now we cut back to Homer. He's trying to sing Maggie to sleep, and it doesn't work, even though he thinks it does.
Yeah, he's singing there, like... I can't remember the name of the song now. I should have wrote it down, but it was really bad.
It was really bad. So he walks away, and as we've alluded to before, Maggie is able to get out of her crib, and she goes searching for Marge because, she wants her mommy.
Yep.
And so she goes through the kitchen where we see it's a complete and utter mess because Homer doesn't clean. And I love how, like, underneath the table, Santa's little helper is eating a slice of pizza. Now, don't get me wrong. Your dog would do that, too.
Yes.
I think any dog would do that unless they're very well trained. And then we also see Barney is still there and he's passed out on the floor.
I mean, why didn't he go home or Homer kick him out?
Maybe they drank?
Is it really smart to be drinking alcohol when you're babysitting your kid?
No, but it's Homer. And also Barney's a drunk anyways.
Yeah.
So then Maggie crawls through the doggy door and she looks up and she sees a bush with Marge's hairstyle.
Yep.
And she turns a corner and it's just a bush and she's disappointed.
Yeah.
And so Maggie runs away. And by run, I mean crawls.
Search of Marge, yep.
Yep. And so, Homer wakes up and this is, he looks at his watch. It's like, oh, it's time for your 9 a.m. feeding at 11:45 a.m. Which he overslept. And I'm sure she would have cried anyways if she hadn't run away.
I'm guessing he's using his vacation time then, right?
Probably. And so he goes up to feed her and discovers she's not in her crib. And he decides to look everywhere. He looks in the chimney. And he goes in the basement and we see the giant head is still in there. I'm not going to pronounce the name because I can't.
From Blood Feud. The giant head from Blood Feud. And I think we mentioned this during that episode. How the hell does that thing get in the basement?
Because it's like the size of the family room.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it comes apart. I don't frickin' know. And when Homer discovers that Maggie isn't in her crib, he does the Home Alone scream.
Yep.
So there's the Homer Alone.
Yep.
And so, he continues to search for Maggie, the laundry hamper in the bathroom, a vacuum cleaner bag, as I had mentioned before, the chimney. And then he goes into the kitchen where Barney is still sleeping and he looks under Barney.
Well, at first I think he thought he saw her.
Yeah, but it actually was a seashell that Barney was sleeping on.
One, where did the seashell come from? Two, how do you not wake up from sleeping on a giant seashell?
Well, again, Barney's a drunk.
That's pokey. It's a pokey seashell.
And so, they're looking outside and Barney believes he found Maggie underneath the front stoop, which is clearly on cement. And he somehow pulls out a water pipe and sprays it into the Simpsons house. Like, this is just ridiculous. I mean, obviously Looney Tune-ish. We got the beginning. So then we cut back to Maggie, who's making her way through the mall, and she goes up to La Pamperie hair salon.
Pampery, like being pampered?
Yes. And there's a woman sitting in the chair with Marge's hair, but it's not Marge.
Someone else in Springfield wants to have this hairstyle?
Maybe the guy thought she would look good with it. The hairstylist.
You think that's Marge's hairstylist?
It could be. Maybe she goes to Le Pamperie.
And so Homer's like, so we come back to Homer's like, Homer calls the Department of Missing Babies.
I don't think that's a real place.
I think you call the cops.
Yes.
And then you get the hotline, like the missing children hotline.
Yep.
And I feel like babies are different. Obviously, missing. Well, I don't know if
I think it's still an Amber Alert.
I think it's an Amber Alert, but I think so. That's immediate. When is it? Is it adulthood, like 16 and over, when missing children become, or missing adults?
I think it's 18.
18 when it's like 24 hours before you can report someone.
No. That is a complete and utter myth. If somebody goes missing, you report it right away.
Oh, so TV shows are wrong?
Yes. If somebody, okay, PSA, if you know somebody who goes missing, do not wait 24 hours. Call the cops right away and be like, I don't know where my friend is. Can you please help me find them? Do not wait.
But are there the standard questions? Well, have you tried calling their cell phone?
I'm sure the police will ask you questions.
Well, okay. So, but see, that's the funny thing. So, is it just annoying if let's say we were at the mall.
Yeah.
And you wandered off somewhere.
But I'm also a 34-year-old male.
I would go to the help desk at the mall. Yeah, could you please announce over the PA that...
Well, people do that at Target all the time, and Target's not that big a store.
But usually for kids, though.
Yeah, well, if a kid... Now, as you know, because we both worked at Target, if a kid goes lost, you don't announce it over the loudspeaker.
No, you don't. That is correct. All right, so anyway, Homer calls the Department of Missing Babies, which apparently in Springfield it's a real thing. And there's he gets put on hold and the song Baby Come Back by Player is the hold music.
Baby come back.
Yep. And so now we come back to Marge, and Marge is going through a Rancho Relaxo activity.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. And which included bungee jumping, kayaking, calligraphy, cigar making, and hula dancing. Now, what would have been funnier in this scene had Marge been actually smoking a cigar?
But I don't think Marge smokes.
No, but her sisters do.
Yeah.
But I think that would, maybe...
And as we know, Bart smokes cigars as well.
Yeah, right. But I would think doing either writing calligraphy would have been cool, smoking a cigar, or even maybe hula dancing while she's going over the...
I think this entire list is cool, except for the calligraphy part.
Well, Marge likes calligraphy.
Well, didn't you do calligraphy in high school?
Yeah. So I think it's not a useful thing at Rancho Relaxo or a spa in general.
But maybe it's relaxing for some people.
Might be.
I would have loved the kayaking for sure.
Yeah. And so obviously Marge made it through the list. She's like, well, now what do I do? So she orders room service and she gets hot fudge sundae with whipped cream, chocolate chip cheesecake, and a bottle of tequila. And
apparently Marge's alcohol of choice is tequila.
Apparently. But we do know she does like her alcohol.
Yeah, she does like her alcohol.
And so Marge gets in the tub, and apparently it's safe to put a TV next to a bathtub, without it risking falling.
Well, there's a lip there.
All right, and then it falls in, and then she dies. That would have been a dark ending to this episode. Marge goes on a relaxing spa.
Well, she did go to a 2-star spa. I mean...
Yep. And so Marge is watching Thelma and Louise, which is the movie of the week that Troy McClure alluded to.
Yep.
While eating your sundae in the tub, yeah. And so Homer...
That does sound really relaxing.
Yep, and so Homer obviously is kind of at a loss now. So he's on the hunt for Maggie, and he goes and visit Bart and Lisa, he really didn't go visit Bart and Lisa. Yeah. He went to go...
Ask them.
And so he's like, hey, have you seen Maggie? And he's like, wait right here. And he's told not to steal any of the light bulbs, which...
He's not going into he's not going into the apartment, and B, what light bulbs?
The ones in the hallway that light up the hall. That's a good place to get free light bulbs. Didn't you know that?
But Homer's not going to steal light bulbs?
No.
Honestly, obviously we know he's searching for Maggie. If I were in Homer's shoes and Patty and Selma were like, don't steal light bulbs, I'm going to start stealing light bulbs.
Yeah, right. And so... they haven't seen obviously Bart and Lisa haven't seen Maggie. Yep. It's like, okay, bye.
I love how they run out and they grab him by the legs.
Yeah,
because they're at Patty and Selma's,
and he kicks that's
later. But he leaves it with Patty and Selma.
Yep, and then they have to go rub Patty's feet.
Oh,
yep. And so next, Maggie is wandering down the street past Buckingham Palace Quick Lube, which is because of the tall hair, and the man who rudely turns down the lube job, who's walking by and being asked, is the same man who gets the parking ticket validated by Ned Flanders at the Leftorium without making a purchase.
Oh. Well. How the turntables.
It's a pretty weird cameo,
I
guess.
It's a weird cameo.
I like how I love how The Simpsons bring back the most randomest characters.
Well, in the new South Park special they did, which I know you've seen, for any of the people out there who have seen it, and for those who are waiting to watch it, spoiler alert, a little bit, at the end, they show a ton of old South Park characters.
I know. It was kind of cool, yep.
So the Simpsons are going to do it too.
Yeah. But I love how it's just the random characters.
Yeah.
And at least this guy had a speaking role, sort of, where, like, Jacques doesn't have, like, there's pictures of him, or he's walking by, or...
I mean, he's in the opening credits.
Or, yeah. But this guy who went to Ned's to get his parking validated gets another speaking role. So Marge calls home, and now she's relaxed and ready, and she's like... She asks Homer how she would feel if the dog ran away. And she's like, well, I'd be awful. It's like, well, good news. The dog's not run away.
Well, because he was trying to gauge, like,
I know.
reaction. Granted, if Homer's like, oh, I lost Maggie,
yeah. And so she's like, well, I'm coming home, and I'll be there in an hour. And then please bring the kids.
Yep.
And so... Maggie ends up on top of the Phineas B. Butterfat's
Phineas Q.
Butterfat's ice cream parlor, where they have the 86,000 flavors.
Yep.
And Wiggum...
No, 8,600 flavors.
8,600.
86,000... Okay, 8,600 is a lot. 86,000 flavors of ice cream? I don't think so.
Fair enough. But I love how she's up on the top sleeping.
Yeah.
And Wiggum is trying to get Maggie not to jump over the edge.
But she's sleeping, and a baby.
Yep.
And even if she was awake, probably wouldn't understand her.
I know. And Homer is sitting at home thinking of ways to break the news to Marge that Maggie is gone. It's like, she was only a year old. We've only had her for a little bit. We weren't as attached to her as the other two.
God.
And so then there's a knock on the door. Wiggum brings back Maggie to Homer.
Yep.
And he's like, are you the one that called about the missing baby? Can you describe her? She's small. A girl. Correct.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like, could you imagine if you and Shay lost Elliot and the cops brought him home, but like, can you describe me? Like, yeah, he's small and a boy. Here's your kid. And like...
Close enough.
Close enough.
And then Wiggum tells Homer that he wanted to arrest him on 3 counts of criminal neglect, but Homer doesn't hear him and kisses Wiggum for bringing back Maggie.
And then Wiggum's like, oh, shucks, and just like, first of all, 3 counts of criminal neglect. Wasn't that just be one full?
No. I mean, there's several different levels. Like when you go to a courthouse for doing things, there's always different things.
That's true.
So I mean. The house would have been 1.
Yeah.
The way the house would look. Maggie running off would be 2.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what 3 would be, but there's at least 2 in there. And so Homer's like, okay, Maggie, you're not going anywhere. And duct tapes her to his car seat, which...
Was that the front seat?
That would be the 3rd one.
And it was in the front seat.
And it was in the front seat. And so Homer goes and picks up Bart and Lisa, and they're clamoring. He runs in and he runs out, and they're both like ripping his legs, and he hooks them into the car.
Off his leg. That's, for as fat as Homer is, that's some pretty good strength.
Yeah, leg strength, yeah. Oh, he's got to carry this on his legs.
I mean, because, at 10 years old, you're what 60, 70 pounds?
Yeah.
Depending on your height?
I can leg press like 200 pounds, so...
I don't know if I can still do 200. It's been a while.
So, Marge explains to Homer that she needs help around... so they get to the train station.
And she has the picture of like, oh, happy little family, and she like pulls it down, and there's them just looking so disheveled.
Yes. Because, they've had a bad weekend. I don't know how long she's gone. But Marge explains to Homer that she needs help around the house.
Yep.
And a little time, a little time to herself.
Yep.
And then there's a wide shot of a bed that comes up. And we see all the Simpsons in the bed.
Yep.
Bart, Marge, Maggie, Homer, all in the bed.
Yep.
And Bart interrupts them and says, everything will be fine. And then lights click. And
then as their eyes close, we get to the credits.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. I like that. They've done that in the past. They've done that in future episodes.
I mean, everyone missed Marge, man. She's like the glue that holds that family together.
Clearly.
Super glue.
Yeah. I enjoy this episode. I mean, you get your Homer hijinks. I mean, child endangerment, though.
Seems kind of odd for the Simpsons.
But, I mean, let's face it. Bart does crazy things. Lisa doesn't really get herself into too much trouble. But, I don't know. This episode, it's funny. It's got some good laughs. I don't know if it's really a good episode, though. I don't know. It's just such an odd episode. It's not bad. but it's not, I guess a 3 don't have a cowman?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting. I mean, we always know that Marge has had her family's issues.
Yeah.
Like, we do know that. And the fact that she finally snaps to a point where it doesn't come down to divorce, it comes down to let me get out of here.
Yeah. Which sometimes, that could fix it.
I mean, I would say maybe family therapy or...
Now, here's my question.
Which I guess they already tried that once.
Well, they tried the family... But have they ever tried... Like, is there an episode where they do marriage counseling?
Well, yeah. Remember, they go to... what's this?
Actual marriage counseling.
Yeah, with Reverend Lovejoy out in the cabin.
Oh, that's right. With General Sherman. Yeah, that didn't work either.
That didn't work either. So, Marge...
But is Reverend Lovejoy really qualified?
Yeah, he's a priest.
Because that makes him qualified.
They do. They have married, dude. They, like most Catholic weddings, before you can even get married, you have to sit down with the priest and have, like, a session.
Now, did you and Shay do marriage counseling before? Or
No.
I mean, some couples probably don't need it, but...
No. And so, I mean, I think I'm with you 3. Don't have a cow, man. I mean, it's not good. It's not great. I mean, it's good, not great. It's not horrible. It's just so weird.
Yeah, it's an odd episode. I wish there was one more episode where you kind of see the cracks a little bit in Marge, but they don't really break through, and then you get this episode. But again, as I've alluded to in past episodes, when we first started this podcast, I said Simpsons don't do continuity well. And then I was proven wrong, at least for the first few seasons here. But it seems like season 3, I think there was like a couple episodes.
There's a lot of things in season 3 so
that
far
that seem like out of place. So I guess we got 7 episodes left in this season.
Yeah. Well, this one alone now, it's funny to think about, but usually when TV shows get to 50, there's something involved. You know what I mean? There's something involved, a spectacular, holy crap, we made it to 50.
But I've heard with The Simpsons, they've really not done anything with 50, 100.
Well, they did 100.
Oh, they did do 100, but like, I feel like they...
And then they did 600, and then they did 666. I guess I don't know what other ones...
I don't know, like, I guess once we get to 150, 200...
I think they did 300.
Did they do 300?
Yeah, it was when Homer pulls the 300 and the balloon at the end shows 300. That was episode 300.
Okay, well, I guess maybe for the big milestones, but like
50, I guess isn't.
But for a TV, like, and I'm sure when they were doing this episode, maybe they didn't think they were going to get to 100. So maybe with the 50th, you think they would have done something bigger?
Well, I've heard on a podcast, which next episode you'll hear the guest.
Yep. Which we'll get to in a second.
Which we'll get to, and he does a lot of interviews with Simpsons on The Simpsons. And one of his questions he always asks is, "Do you think The Simpsons did you think they were going to get this far?" Yeah. Most of them think, no, we never thought we were going to get this far. So I thought maybe 50 might have been a little bit more of a flashy episode, which to me, unfortunately, it wasn't as flashy as I would have liked.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
I mean, I could have seen... So in a couple weeks, we're getting to...
Homer at the
Bet. Now that's 2 weeks. That would have been a good... That would have been a good number 50, I think.
For Christ's sakes, it's enshrined in a Hall of Fame.
Exactly. That episode with the amount of cameos in it and stuff like that, I figure that one would have been a...
By the way, spoiler alert for that episode, it is a 5.
Oh, okay.
I've watched that episode so many times, I could probably recite it as I watch it.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, for this episode, for episode 50, it's not flashy. I mean, it has good character development, at least on Marge. Yeah. But yeah, it's not spectacular. I mean, my expectations for 50, I would have liked to seen something a little bit bigger, but I mean,
I guess they brought back Troy McClure.
I mean, he's in a lot of episodes.
Yeah, right.
So, as we often do every week, what do we like to do?
We'll close it out with our character profile. And this week, we have the lovable Mr. Teeny.
Mr. Teeny.
And I believe this was his... No, this wasn't his first appearance.
No, it was not. I think it was his third. Second or third.
Yeah, because he was in the episode where they could have seen a monkey.
Yeah.
Oh, was that his first episode? The Homer... clown one, the Father Like Clown, where they could have seen the monkey when Krusty comes over.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that was his first appearance. I guess I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, we got Mr. Teeny here.
Yep.
So occupation, trained chimp on the Krusty the Clown show. And he is a pretty good trained chimp, I would have to say. His vice, chain smoker of cigars. His
cigarettes.
Cigars.
Is it cigars?
Cigars,
Okay.
yep. His chief goal, drive Krusty crazy.
And
I think he does that.
Yeah.
Because as we saw in this episode, melted ice cream in a car.
Yeah.
That would drive anyone mad.
Yep.
He enjoys futzing with things he has no right to futz with.
As we saw in this episode, he was futzing with the radio dials.
Yep. And he aspires to something more.
Do we ever hear Mr. Teeny talk in any episode?
No.
Like a thought one?
I know we hear him do chimp noises.
Okay.
But I think that's really about... I don't know if his chimp noises are auditory or not. Like, we understand them.
I don't think we do.
Okay.
No. There are a couple episodes where he talks in his chimp voice, but there are subtitles.
Okay. We'll put a pin in that, and we'll let you know when Mr. Teeny has his first speaking role. Speaking role. All right, so let's let everyone know where we can find us. We are on Facebook, The Simpsons Did It Podcast. We're on Twitter, Simpsons Did It PC. We're over on the Instagrams at The Simpsons Did It Pod. You can find us on YouTube if you want to hear a video version of our podcast, or if that's where you listen to all your stuff is on YouTube, just search Simpsons Did It Podcast. And for all of our supporters that are out there, thank you so much for supporting our podcast so far. If you haven't supported yet, feel free, go over to buymeacoffee.com/SimpsonsDidItPod, and feel free to donate whatever you like, and we'll get you some swag for donating. So one thing I mentioned a little bit earlier is next week we are going to have a special guest on our show. He's a huge Simpson collector, amazing podcast of his own, and I'll leave you guys a little bit hanging on who that is, and you can come back next week and... come check it out. So, until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.